Cue camera. Sniper Michelle. Cue camera. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I call to order the Mayor and Alderman meeting, May 30th, 2023 at 6 p.m. Central Daylight Time, and we're ready to start the meeting. The chaplain will say our opening prayer.
Let us pray. Lord God, Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for all the blessings that you continually shower upon us. Today we ask that you would continue to watch over and bless the town of Monteagle, all of its residents, keep them safe, and especially our leaders, the mayor and the aldermen, and our first responders and all of those who work for the town. We thank you for their leadership, and we ask that you would be with them as they make the decisions that need to be made. All of this we ask in the name of your Son, Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will the recorder please call the roll?
Lorraine.
Here.
Dan.
Here.
Jessica. Here. Nate.
Here.
Mayor.
Here. Okay, you've received in your packet copies of several of the minutes of other meetings. I think we need to do one at a time. So the meeting of April 24th, I'll take the motion to accept the minutes.
I move to make a motion to accept the minutes of the April 24th meeting.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Are there any additions or corrections? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The next set of minutes, they were both public hearings. They both did not have comment as I recall. So therefore, I'll take one motion to accept both public hearing minutes of April 24th.
I'll move to make a motion to approve the minutes of the public hearings, April 24th.
Second to the motion.
Second.
Any additions or corrections? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved. Final meeting, a special called meeting, May 5th, of the mayor and aldermen. Is there a motion to accept those minutes?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes of May 5.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The minutes are approved. Any citizens' comments wishing to be heard at this time? Please so raise your hand, signify. I'll get 1 second, Mr. Porton. Any other citizen comments? Okay. The next is Mayor's Communications on the agenda. We'll start by a special request by Mr. Parton to discuss a situation that's been brought to his attention. So Richard, if you would.
Thank you, Mayor and Alderman and community people. I'm here today to represent two groups. One group is the group that established the Monteagle Public Park Association years ago and donated the land that the ballpark is on today. And the other group are those children that are yet to be born. And it is important, in my thinking, that we need to have a place for activity to take place. And as Peggy's dad set this committee up years ago, and I am speaking for the Ayler family who donated this land, and I represent them, and Peggy is the only heir left. So anyway, his intent was to look forward and have a committee of the community to serve and to run the ballpark, whatever activity would go on out there. And on his pattern, I would like for the city to reinstate that committee. And I have searched out people that were willing to serve on that committee to operate it. Would be Alvin Powell, Ty Burnett, Jeremy Ladd, Kyle Underhill, and Cray Parton. Now, Kyle and Cray are descendants from the original family, and you have to have a lad on the ballpark. And Alvin has had experience over there, and Ty Burnett has the education and the ability to see what goes on and take care of it. And so those are the people that I have recommended, and I request that the city reinstate that committee and let it operate. And I can't play ball, but I can help them raise money. And that's, I don't know whether Ty might have something to say about this or not.
Sure.
Okay, Ty, are you here?
I am.
Would you say something?
Well, it's starting a committee is, and I appreciate everybody who's agreed to be involved in that. I don't know if forcing the issue tonight is quite the way to do it, but here we are. I do hope that the council will do so. I think we can have a wonderful recreation department in the city of Monteagle. I think there's some willingness, and I think that can happen if we work cooperatively. I think there's a possibility for soccer in this town, and I think there's other recreational opportunities here. So if we can work together, I think we can make that happen.
Thank you, Tom. You know that families are taking their children off the mountain to participate in sports, and we have the opportunity to do something right here in Monteagle and need to. So that's really all I have to say, and I hope that you all will make a move on this.
Thank you. Let me give some slight background here. Mr. Parton called me to discuss this because it has been a long time since those documents have been reviewed, when Mr. Ayler donated land to the town for a ballpark, and others in that area have as well. There were rumors going around. There's nothing to the rumors, and let me say it now. We have no intention of selling the ballpark or doing anything with it other than to use it for the purposes it was donated for, which happens to be the way donations work. As a result of Peggy and Richard Parton coming to the workshop, I set wheels in motion, and as it turns out, some volunteers have come forward to serve on the recreation committee of sorts, which will certainly dovetail into this committee, if not be the same one. So all of that having been said, I think we're past the baseball season this year, but as recently as today, I received a phone call to start planning for next year. I've asked Ty Burnett to attend the meeting, and there's a gentleman that wants to do baseball tournaments and games here on the mountain as well to start next season, or probably next season, if not the late game this year. So we're working on that concept, but yes, the ballpark is a vital part of the community. It was donated for that reason, and we will maintain it for that reason. So I thank Richard for his presentation as a reminder to us and for us to move forward. So,
So can I ask a question?
sure.
What do we have to do to get this committee started? What does the council have to do?
Well, I'll present that at a workshop because there are some members that will be on the committee. I want to talk to Richard between now and the next workshop and finalize this. I'm not sure that it requires council approval, but it certainly requires information. And I'll have that ready in short order.
That's what I was wondering, if it had to go, if we had to approve any of it.
No, my understanding is the mayor appoints the chairman and the committee, and we'll do that in short order. Okay. Moving on with the agenda, calendar events. The next meeting is June 26th, 6 o'clock here, and other meetings as they come up. Planning Commission is June 6th at 6 o'clock as well. Okay, reports of committees. Well, yeah, I'll do it mine at the end of these reports. Reports of committees and members, Police Department.
All right, won't take up too much of your guys' time. Thank you again. I just wrote a few things down. I'm just going to read it off the top here. So these numbers are from 4:15 to 5:15, okay? The total number of 911 dispatch generated calls to the police department, as you can see, is up. It's 503. The total number of reports taken by the police department is 37. So the total number of citations written between that time is 72. The total number of traffic stops within that 30 days is 185. The total number of arrests that were made are 14. Most of the arrests that were made are drug related. Once again, police department shown at the effectiveness of the canine unit. And most of those arrests from the canine was from vehicles being pulled over. Over a majority of our citations written in the town of Monteagle are speeding. And those are speeds of 50 miles an hour or greater. And as we all know, we don't have a 50 mile an hour speed zone in Monteagle. Most of these citations were written in 3 areas of concerns that we have. School zone, there's construction zone in front of Ace Hardware, and I call it the Mario curve right there in front of the Depot restaurant. That's where a majority of our speeding has happened. We got one vehicle come around that curve at almost 60 miles an hour, which is dangerous. They actually straighten the curve out. So, yes, we're pulling a lot of vehicles over, but my main goal as the chief is to keep the citizens and the visitors safe. So if I've got to pull over 100 cars, I'm going to pull over 100 cars. Now, the good thing is the total number of reports are down from last month, which means the activity is being shown. So, that's where we want. We want to see the numbers come down. The total number of citations from last month are coming down. So, we're taking the opportunity when we do pull someone over is to basically educate them. I would love to not write a citation. Just tell people to slow down. But those numbers are coming down. And my last thing I want to leave you guys with is it's summer. It's getting warm outside. School's out. So let's, as a community, do our part and slow down.
Thank you, Chief. Let me make a comment about speeding. I've been working with the chief, and he's been very cooperative, as his department has been, because the complaints that they are investigating, the speeding that they are trying to slow down, came from citizen complaints. Citizens on Trussell Road, construction workers by the Ace Hardware project, and people that try to navigate that Papa Ron's Depot curve. It's 35 miles an hour for everybody's safety, including pedestrians, and I think that the police are doing a fine job in trying to control that, and I would ask that you continue that, because there are obviously 3 areas of great concern, and based on your report, it's led to some other activity. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. Thank you, guys.
Any questions or comments for the police chief?
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you very
You
much.
guys have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you.
Next item, Fire Department.
Evening. 20 calls for April so far. I've got them broke down there on the agenda. Members have been training in-house along with Swanee and Deckard Fire Departments. Deckard has a burn facility, and so we've been to Deckard once to train with those guys and probably going back on a Saturday. Members are continuing to flow and paint fire hydrants if we can continue to do that. And I say that with a smile on my face because they plan to do it and the crew falls apart, so.
Can we do that while the one tank is offline, or are we?
Not flow, but we can paint.
Okay.
Yeah, they're not flowing anything right now. Members are in the early stages of starting commercial pre-plans throughout the town. The pre-plans I put in your packet. We've done City Hall pre-plan today. For those of you that's unaware of it, that pre-plan took the biggest part of the afternoon. We're going to try to hit every business in town, commercial business, and create a baseline on all that, do the sketch, any kind of hazards or anything like that. That'll also help our ISO. It's things that needs to be done, so we're going to work towards that. I've also got a press release to put it out, to all the businesses to let them know that we'll be in and out doing stuff. Good. About 15,000 gallons used this month, roughly, is from what we can figure. And the department's been selling hamburgers and hot dogs at the weekly Fresh Mess Market on Monday evenings. Volunteers have been wrangled up doing that. That's been quite a good fellowship and interaction with the community. We've had fun doing that. The building inspection side, if y'all want to go into that.
Well, if I may interrupt for 1 minute, your training and these practice burns, et cetera, that's all, or most of it is ISO related?
It will be eventually. These guys are working towards their commissioned firefighters. So, I mean, this is just, kind of getting their feet wet. And once they kind of satisfy the Deckard facility and learn as much as they can, then they're going to go to the state facility at Bell Buckle and do their live burn training. I think there's 9 of them that has to go to that.
Okay.
Once they do that, then they'll challenge the fire commission for their firefighter wants.
And ISO is still tied to the insurance premiums?
Yes, absolutely. It's all hand-in-hand stuff.
Thank you.
Chuck, you had mentioned several months ago that they were going to do an ISO inspection. Have they still not showed up?
I've not heard. That was November. That's one of them deals where I don't want to call him.
Yeah.
He knows he's called us.
Yeah,
Called
okay.
us once. I don't want to call him back until we get everything squared, because right now we're just catching up. This is stuff that, we needed to do over the years that just kind of fell to the wayside. The more of this we get done, the better point standards we're going to be. So.
What about the hazmat spill? Where was it?
That was a 35-gallon diesel fuel leak on Pilot parking lot. Somebody had siphoned diesel fuel out of a truck and put it in a garbage can, and the tenant went out and thought it was water and dumped it across the parking lot. So, and then it got tracked all over that end of town. So, the building report. Anything else on fire y'all got for me?
Okay. Building report.
So it's plain and simple. There's 4 building inspections that has been done this month. It's kind of been a slow for say month. I think we've got probably 6 different building permits that we've turned into City Hall that's been signed off for approval. So we're just waiting to hear back on all that stuff. AJ's got codes if y'all want to hear from AJ. Or I can read it to you. He's done 2 code violations that has served throughout the town for this month. There's 3 codes files that he's closed or satisfied. He's working on 3 issues within the town involving cleanup, and 1 is from a previous structure fire. So that's what he's been working on.
AJ, do you have anything to add?
No, kind of like this building. Kind of like with the building stuff, it's been a slow month. So just kind of going by stuff that people bring in, and just doing some patrol stuff and focusing on fire department for this month.
Okay.
Everything's going smooth.
Any questions on the building ordinance side?
No.
Thank you.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all.
Next is Parks and Recreation. No, there's nothing at this time, but
So if we have a new committee, would they be reporting monthly during this time?
that's what I want to refine with them. Probably so, depending on the activities of the field and what's needed at the field. Utility manager. Who wants to go first, John or Travis?
got all the information.
Okay. I have a stickum to remind you about the
Okay.
latest development, but what else can you tell us about the water tower and some future use?
Okay, just an update. The construction is on schedule. I'm sure everyone can see the containment that's around the tank to prevent any type of debris from getting on any adjacent properties or buildings and whatnot. So they are still planning on being completed with the tank sometime by the end of July. So they're on schedule. As part of the not demo of the tank, but prep to sandblast and repaint the tank. They've done periodic inspections on the structure as they pull all the paint off and look at the structure. And so in the center riser pipe, there's some substantial pitting in the pipe that needs to be repaired. And because we didn't drain the tank and perform an inspection ahead of time, because that would have cost additional funds, we were unable to know what's inside the tank until you get there. So what that means is the pitting is where it's gone for years without maintenance, and so it has caused pitting in the metal. They can repair that, but there's two options for repair. The first option is, to speak in some non-technical terms that maybe can be easily visualized, you can trowel on Bondo onto a vehicle to make it smooth, take all the dimples out. That has to be done by hand and troweled to some finished slick surface. That's labor intensive, takes a lot more time, it's a little bit different material. The second option, which is much cheaper, is to roll it on like you're rolling paintbrush. And I'm dumbing this down somewhat because I don't understand all the technical equipment that they're going to use, but for the most part, you can roll that on instead of troweling, which is less labor intensive. Some of the same material, the Tanemic coatings will still be in both materials, which is the protective coating, but it's much less labor intensive, and it's cheaper. But at the end, when they're finished with the option 2, they may have to go back and touch up some places that were worse than others because they didn't get the nice troweled finish that they've spent a lot of time and effort to trowel. So they have given us a price. I think the option 1, the most expensive, is $62,000 to trowel, to do the nice coated finish, or $16,000 plus whatever touch-up there may be after that. And it's so much per square foot that they have to go back and try to finish up the worst places, because some places are worse than others. So our guesstimate is they could be in the neighborhood of $20,000 to $25,000, maybe, worst case. But the estimate that they know for sure that they've seen, it's a minimum of $16,000 for option 2 and $62,000 for option 1. We recommend option 2. It's the cheapest. It's going to do the job, but we don't know, again, until they get in there and see what effort they have to go back and do second coats on pieces and parts of the square footage. And so it'll be much less than option 1, but it could be $30,000, it could be $25,000. I think it'll be somewhere between 25 to 30, maybe, would be a safe guess, which is half of what they're telling us that option 1 is. They're both repair types will work. Both will protect the tank moving forward. At the end of the day, that's kind of like you're getting bells and whistles with one and not so much with the other, but it's still going to be protected. So you're not losing anything by choosing option 2. It's not an inferior product, I guess is what I'm trying to tell you. So we're recommending the repair by option 2, but it's just an unforeseen total that,
Understood. I spoke with one of your engineers in your firm while you were on the road traveling here, and he explained, and that's why I was looking to find other information on it, but as I recall, the rust areas are not paper thin, they can be repaired.
That's correct.
With this Bondo type coating.
That's
To be
correct.
painted after that.
that's correct.
And he expressed his concern that it should not be more than 25,000. 16, as you say, was there, 25,000 should be the maximum. Therefore, and then we can ask questions after, I will entertain a motion to authorize the repair not to exceed $25,000 of the main riser to the water tank they're working on. Is there a motion on the floor for that?
Is this a change order or a supplemental contract?
It will be a change.
It's an additional cost. It would be a change order.
It's a change order. Let's get the motion there first, and then we can do questions. Someone making the motion?
I was going to, but I needed to know what I was making a motion about.
Making a motion to approve the,
I move to approve a change order to the contract not to exceed $25,000 to repair the pitting on the tank,
on the riser.
on the riser.
Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Is there discussion on the motion? You all understand what we're talking about, the riser coming up
I
and the
do.
rust thereof? Okay.
But,
Joe?
okay, we're talking $16,000 to make sure that it doesn't, fixes all the pits in it, right?
That's right.
$16,000, I don't care how pretty it is, it doesn't have to be rolled on or, you know, I'm not gonna go up there and inspect it, you know what I mean, see how soft it is. But $16,000 is for the pits to fix.
That's right. And a better way to explain it, I'm not explaining it very well, I apologize. It's like if you're painting a rusty trailer, you have to get all the rust off and you have to prep it and put like a pre-coat that the paint will adhere to. And so if you don't repair these pits, the final coating won't adhere to those pits. And so they're filling those in or they're prepping those such that the final coat will adhere and protect it. Otherwise, you'll be back to where it is now at some point in time, real near in the future, and it'll peel off, and then those pits will become deeper and deeper.
So we're gonna get the same protection with the 16,000 as we do with 62,000?
That's correct. That is correct.
Okay.
Except it won't be 16,000. It will
It'll
likely
be
be.
higher.
It could be. Again, it just depends on how well those surfaces accept that prep with that method, because it is quicker and it's, you know, some places are not as bad as others, and the ones that are worse, they'll have to go back over a second time.
Is this going to extend the project time or?
It shouldn't. We asked that, but they've not indicated that the project will have to be extended because of that.
Yeah, I asked that same question. They don't foresee any problem.
No.
The reason we're doing 25,000 as the maximum not to exceed is so we don't have to go back and forth. If they're up there and working, they should keep going, and if we can't trust our engineering firm, then we have bigger problems on the pipe.
Can we afford to do it either way?
Yes. The funds are there. All right, are there any other questions or comments?
There's a question in the audience.
We'll take a question from the audience.
You mean a point of information? Just one question, go ahead.
Is there any difference between the estimated lifespan or the life of the two repairs? Are both estimated to last about the same amount of time?
It is. It's a preparatory preparation technique, one versus the other. And so it's the preparation time, one's more expensive than the other. So.
Okay, well, we're now on a discussion on all of this, so one question only, please, Mr. Lay.
Yes, I was just wondering how tall that riser is and the diameter of it. I just remember the first one.
I don't have those figures right in front of me, and it's only for a portion. Some like it's maybe 900 and something feet. I'd have to go back and check. I apologize. I don't have that in front of me.
They're in the other room. The plans are in there if you want to
Thank
look
you.
at them.
Lucy, did you have a question?
I just wondered how long this will last. How long is it anticipated to last? And is there any sort of warranty with this work?
The warranty is 1 year, which is typical on most construction. The painting should last 30 years or so. I can verify the exactness, but it's standard for that type. I mean, you don't, I don't know the last time the tank was maintenance, but I mean, if you go much further than that, then you'll be right back in the same spot that we're in right now. So I think it's at the end of its useful life at this point. So it's probably been, what, 30 or 40 years since the tank's been painted, I
Okay.
guess. Some folks may know, but.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments from the aldermen? All those in favor of the motion say aye. No, I'm sorry. I said corrected. Roll call vote, please.
Lori,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Jessica,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes. Okay, anything else for your report?
Yes, we will be, just wanted to report on the water treatment plant. They are scheduled to do the corings this week on maybe tomorrow, Thursday. After that's done, we'll get an estimate on timing. We should, I would think, have some results back by the next board meeting. I would think 4 weeks would be sufficient. They haven't told us how long to expect results after they send those in. So I would anticipate having some information at the next board meeting on the results and then how we can move forward at the water treatment plant.
Thank you. Any other questions for Travis? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
John, did you have anything to add?
No, unless y'all got something to ask.
Anyone have any questions of John at this time? Okay.
Yeah, I do. Were you able to put together a water report this month?
And got the final, what we sold.
On the billing?
Yeah.
Is that a timing issue?
Is it for May?
Well, I'm asking, monthly report, the way the mayor had set it up, we were going to stop at
Behind, so if you did one tonight, it would be for April.
that'd be awesome.
I could do that.
So yeah, what we're trying to do is get together a monthly report so that the board can understand on a monthly basis how these problems that we have in water or sewer are being
I
addressed.
don't understand one thing you're asking for, and I want you to explain it to me.
Okay.
What is the gallons down at the wastewater plant got to do with what the water laws?
On the,
Didn't you tell me last month you wanted the gallons at the wastewater plant?
well, that's a different question. So what I'm looking at, the unaccounted water loss is a measurement of how much water we are treating and not selling. And that's just a function of our system. That's on the water side. And on the sewer side, the difference between the amount of water that we're selling and the amount of water that we're treating can be a proxy for I&I, water coming in during rainflow. And Travis and I have talked a little bit about this. Part of it is our billing is not set up to make that easy. So we'll be continuing to have conversations with Travis. I've got some questions that I'll probably follow up with you on, John, to figure out how we can come up with some numbers that can help the community and us understand that our water and sewer is improving. And that's kind of what we're looking for. And so I've understood, like I said, in talking to Travis and in talking to Debbie, that's kind of hard to do because of the way our minimum billing operates.
Right, you don't
But-
have to tell that till we get all the I&I stuff in.
Well, what is typical in a water and sewer is that we have an ongoing monthly report so that we can understand trends over time, and that can help us to better anticipate problems going forward. So that's all I'm looking for, and I understand it's going to take some time, but we'll continue to work on it. Like I said, Travis gave us some ideas. Debbie and I have had a conversation. We want to bring you into that conversation, but we just want to figure out how we can get some real numbers that can help us understand the condition of our water and sewer over time without having to hire an engineer. No offense, Travis, but without having to hire an engineer with supplemental funds to make that assessment for us. So in other words, we know that we're improving. We know that we've got problems we got to deal with. In order to do that, this board needs information. And in order for you, as the water and sewer director, to be able to anticipate what our problems are, I think you need that information too. So it's just going to take us a little while to get it, but.
Yeah, it sure is.
Okay. Mr. Buckner?
Yes, sir, I'm good, I reckon. What about you?
Feeling fine. Thank you for asking. Do you have anything?
I don't have anything. Reckon Sparkle Week went off without a hitch. have wound up 2 big containers full of trash, and about half a container full of scrap iron, so.
Well, and you did get a lot of compliments for the flags, and in working with Doreen, the appearance around the flagpole there, with the crosses and the flags on the green, what I call the green strip. So thank you for all of
We
that.
have to thank the other guys for that. They
Well, and I
stepped
know
up
mowing
and-
season is coming up, if it's
Yeah.
not here already.
It done did, yeah.
So, thank you for all of that.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Planning Commission, I think we'll deal with some of these ordinances come up on a first and second reading, and we'll see what comes up from their June meeting. Alderman reports. Doreen, you have anything?
Yes, I do. Speaking of the memorial service yesterday, I want to thank the Troop 12, Pack 3212, if I got that right, Nate. The scouts always come through for us. No matter what we ask, they're always here. The bell choir from Monteagle Elementary did awesome. They were just fantastic. Our 4th of July parade will be at 10 o'clock on July the 4th, and the theme's going to be Operation Patriotism. Our senior citizens have bingo June the 15th over here at the community center or out at the pavilion. We're not sure where it's going to be yet. June the 29th, we will have a Medicare advisor, and he will also talk to the seniors about estate planning. And I'd like to remind everyone of the Fresh Mess Market that's every Monday at Horton Park, and the Feast on the Street food trucks. It's first Thursday of every month from 4 to 8. And that's all I got.
Okay, thank you.
And we will be taking flags down tomorrow, sorry.
What flags?
Down the medium, because they're gonna start mowing and it's gonna start raining, so I'd like to get them down for
We're
you.
gonna leave the other ones till
Leave
Flag
the other
Day.
ones till
Yeah.
Flag Day?
Yeah.
Thank you. Dan, anything?
Yes, I have a little bit of a report in reference to the building between the old Speedy Sack and High Point has a good bit of trash on the sidewalk in front of the building, limbs and debris in the parking lot. The citizens of the town have alerted me to that several times over the last few months, and I just wonder if we can get a hold of the landowner. I noticed that there's a lot of flea market or yard sale things go on there on the weekend sometimes, which that's fine with whoever and whenever, but that same mess is there every single time, and all for the last year or so. So it looks like maybe construction bags with stuff in it from something that was done in the building, but anyway, I said that I would bring it up, so I'm bringing it up.
Well, and thank you for that, and I'll get in touch with AJ and Travis and have them take a look at that and research the owner and notify him or her. Jessica, you have anything? Nate?
Yeah, I just thought I'd give an update on the planning process. As I mentioned a couple months ago, we're in a conversation with a group called the Architects Foundation about helping us do a general plan. And so I put out a note by email, and I think it went on Facebook and on the website as well, looking for support letters, and we got over 20 letters from different folks in the community. And those folks got an email from me today linking them to the application as it sits now, which is in draft form, and I'll be looking for comments from community members about the application, and the goal is to get this to the Architects Foundation by the end of the month. We've had great support from the community. We've gotten multiple cash pledges for donations to help cover the cost, as well as donations of lodging and meals. So it's been a really neat process, and I think tentatively it'd be nice to have them come late summer while we still got a little bit of summer activity going on, but are moving on into the school system. So that's kind of what we're aiming for. And there'll be a lot of public comment and we'll be looking for other ways for them to interact with the community. So I know Morton Memorial has offered to host them for an evening covered dish so that they can talk to people that go there. If you're involved in another church and would be interested in hosting them, we'd love to do that. That not only helps the town, but it also helps them get a better, broader sort of input from the community and helps them find different people to talk to. So please just come see me after the meeting or shoot me an email and we'll get that set up. Excited to see this process move forward a little bit.
Thank you. This is a monumental project, and Nate has agreed to undertake it, and it's been moving very well, and thank you for that. It's a lot of work. Question?
End of month, being tomorrow, or are you talking about end of June?
I'm sorry, about the end of June, I'm sorry. So those who got an email today on public comment for the draft, it said I'd like to have all those comments in by June 6th, and that gives plenty of time to incorporate them. And when you ask 20 plus people for their opinion, it may take me a while to get it all organized. So.
Okay, is that it? Okay, I'll chime in with a few general comments just as updates. The TDOT project, the Peanut and Roundabout, has prompted conversation, at least from what I understand, on Facebook. Please follow the meetings. They want a second meeting with the citizens. It's important that you be here. In the meantime, until that meeting, I'm happy to receive your emails that I may forward on to the TDOT folks so they get your input. I've had two right after that meeting that talked about speed around the Peanut and Roundabout, and also passing if it's an emergency vehicle, do you have room to pull over? Those were two comments I got. Please tell your friends and neighbors. Sometimes all the faces out there look very familiar, so I feel I'm preaching to the choir, as they say. So we'll continue to advertise and push it. Make sure your neighbors get the Facebook postings or the community Facebook, or start using the website. And I mentioned the website because Nashville legislators recently passed a law that the website is an official publication for us to post the agendas. So agendas will be starting to be posted on the website, and I encourage you to use the website. We try to put information there as well as Facebook. If there are problems with the website, let us know that. We have someone that has been helping us correct them, as well as someone who's helping us post on there, so we can do those kinds of things. So please, we need your help on that, just in the name of communication. Just so you know, cybersecurity has become an issue, and I'm required to take a course in Murfreesboro to deal with cybersecurity on the water and sewer plant. So where it relates to you all is check your computers, change your passwords. There seems to be more and more growing concern about cybersecurity on many fronts. So I ask for your cooperation on that. Back to the Roundabout real quick, in the Peanut. Some other comments, and it wasn't in writing, was just in passing. Just reduce the speed and have the police start giving more tickets, and that'll slow traffic down. You see, part of what the Roundabout does, according to the TDOT presentation, as I understood it, was that it will slow traffic and keep the traffic moving. Now, many people have many comments about that. I don't know. TDOT has done all their statistical analysis, as well as their projections, as well as the history of accidents and merging traffic, etc. One thing that did come up that they addressed right at the meeting that many people have asked about is what's wrong with the traffic light. Interstate ramps coming off of interstate highways have certain regulations, and I'm trying to quote or paraphrase the gentleman from TDOT, and we do not meet those qualifications or those requirements. And they said, well, what about the fog? And the comment was made, not necessarily from TDOT, but somebody said, it's easier to see reflectors than it is a traffic light up there somewhere hidden by the fog. I don't know if that's true or false. These are just comments that I'm passing on to emphasize the importance of all of you and your neighbors attending the next meeting and sending me any emails you have about that. So I just want to bring you up to date on those items, and we will proceed. Well, I'll bring these up under new business. Yes,
When is it?
I'm sorry?
When is it?
They haven't announced it yet. They're doing their engineering, and when they set a date and time, I'll get it out. Okay. Under old business, we have the second reading of ordinance 8-23. All of these are in your packets. So is there a motion on second reading of ordinance 8-23 to accept that as submitted?
I move to make a motion to pass ordinance number 8-23.
Thank you. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Thank you. Is there discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Ordinance number 10-23. You've had a chance to review that. It's an update provided by MTS for our personnel policies. Is there a motion to accept ordinance 10-23 on the second reading?
I'll make a motion to accept the ordinance 1023 on the second reading.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Is there discussion on the motion?
Yes.
Go ahead.
I thought that in the workshop, Nate had brought up about the mayor firing, if taking away the 3/4 vote or whatever. What happened with that?
What happened with that? Oh, thank you. That was a recommendation by our city attorney to remove that part of the personnel manual. So we acted accordingly.
Nate, did you want that back in there?
Yes, so as you can see what I have up on the screen here, this changes our personnel policy from the current policy where right now the mayor and board of aldermen make all firing decisions. And this changes it to put it solely in the hand of the mayor. And I know we have previously, both during other administrations and also in other conversations about some of our key personnel, felt like from a professional standpoint, it was important that the board have a role in making those firing decisions, particularly when it comes to department heads. And this came as a recommendation from the city attorney because of a firing of someone who was not a department head, and apparently proper procedure was not followed. And so the attorney felt like this was the simplest way to resolve it, but I don't feel like this is a good government way to resolve it. I feel like if we're in a small town, we are need to work hard to be transparent, and having those decisions lying solely within the mayor's office doesn't seem like a good way to do that. So I agree with other things that were in the personnel policy, which include increased number of vacation pays for our employees. It includes some clarification on how vacation and policy is done, but I do not support this particular section as written. I would like it to be amended so that department heads may have the ability to hire and fire. I think we need to put our trust in our department heads to do that. But when it comes to department heads, I would like the council to retain a role in hiring and firing decisions.
Okay, any other comments on the personnel manual?
I agree with Nate.
I do too.
Okay.
So do we need to amend the motion?
Yes, you can amend it and approve, as far as I'm concerned, approve the policy with that to be further clarified with the attorney. And leave that as the only acceptance, all right? So if there are no other objections, who made the motion to accept? Okay, do you want to amend your motion?
I do want to amend my motion to personnel policy in reference to this particular item.
Okay.
And
approve the balance of the policy?
yes,
All right, who made the second?
Jessica.
Do you agree with
I
that
agree.
motion?
I do.
Okay. So the amended motion has been made and seconded. Is there discussion on the amended motion?
Can we get a reading of the amended motion? I'm not sure I understand exactly what we've done.
Well, what I was going to do is refer it to the attorney and ask him to telephone in with a workshop and see how we can resolve it, since it was his suggestion.
Okay.
That's why it's amended that is not included until.
We basically
quite frankly, further-
won't act on the motion.
Won't act on the motion, okay.
Right. Okay, so all those, do I need a vote?
I'm not sure what, if we're not going to vote on it.
Well,
But
I'm
what you
saying-
amended was to have the department heads, if they're hired or fired, that the council would do it.
Okay.
The other employees, the department head would do it. Is that what you're saying?
Mhm.
Okay. Well, we can amend it and we can have that changed if that's what you want to do.
what, tonight?
We can do that tonight? Okay.
Well, do you want to?
Okay, so the amendment would include that.
The
Okay,
amendment
all right.
will include that and then we'll change the policy.
Okay, so, and that's different from having a conference call with an attorney. We're amending the
Yeah, if you
policy.
go ahead and you want to amend that, then we don't need any conference calls.
Okay, so that's what we want, to amend the previous
To pass
ordinance.
the amended personnel policy, where
But
department.
to act on the fact that the department heads can hire and fire,
Yes.
but the mayor would be involving the board of aldermen in firing department heads.
Mayor and alderman for the department heads, exactly
Okay,
right.
I would make such a motion.
Okay, Jessica, are you seconding that?
Yes, I will second that.
Okay,
Okay, now we'll have a roll call vote.
go ahead.
Okay,
Doreen,
Yes.
Dan,
yes.
Jessica.
Yes.
Nate,
Yes.
Yes. Okay, second reading of ordinance 11-23, the purchasing limits, which you have in your packet.
Can I actually say that, I just want to make it clear that that had nothing to do with you as mayor. It's just a good governance thing.
Quite understand.
I just want to be clear about that.
Thank you. Is there
Well,
any
it wasn't my
discussion?
reasoning.
Well, is there a motion to accept ordinance 11-23?
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 11-23.
And is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion on the motion?
Sorry, I'm going to make sure I know what I'm talking about.
Yes, we did the workshop.
11-23 purchasing limits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Ordinance number on the second reading, 12-23, Town of Monteagle to adopt the Jackson Law. Mr. Hughes is here to answer any questions you may have about the Jackson Law. This is a second reading. I do understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Hughes, that the county mayors do not have to accept our passing this ordinance. Is that what you told me earlier today?
Yes, this goes into effect for the town solely through you passing it. It's good for the counties to pass it too, but they don't also need to adopt it for it to be in effect in Monteagle.
Well, it would be my intent if this passes to inform the county mayors. Okay, is there a motion to accept ordinance number 12-23 on the second reading?
I will make the motion to accept ordinance number 1223 on the second reading, the Jackson Law.
Thank you. Is there a second to that?
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Next ordinance on the second reading is ordinance 13-23. We've discussed this with our accountants, the year-end budget amendments. Any discussion? Is there a motion to accept ordinance 13-23?
Trying to get it up here so people know what we're doing. 12-23.
It's in our packet, so.
Well, I want to let them know.
Yeah, well, it's in our packet, so,
Just letting them know.
yeah, thank you. Is there a motion on 12-23?
12-23.
I move,
13-23.
I'm sorry, 13-23, my error.
I move to approve ordinance number 13-23.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion on the motion?
Yes.
Go ahead.
So we're going to give the employees 3 extra vacation days, right?
Yes?
But we're not giving them a raise, right? according
Right.
to this budget.
Right, but the motion is on this ordinance.
This is
Oh,
just a
this is
budget
not the
amendment.
budget. I'm sorry,
This is
I'm
not the
sorry.
budget.
I'm
So let's
sorry.
talk about
My fault.
13-23. Is there any discussion on 13-23? Okay. All those in, oh, no, this is a roll call vote?
Lori,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Jessica.
Yes.
Nate.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Business,
There was more to it.
there's what, more to what?
There was just more to the fund balance amendment. All right, now I got to find the next thing. No, there was just a second page to it.
There's a second page,
Yeah.
but that's fine. Business permits under new business. We have a business permit application for Alexander Farms. Is Mr. Alexander here? Is Mr. Alexander here? We have to bring this up the next time. We'll lay that aside for the next meeting. Someone must be present for the business applications. Okay, moving on. There was another business permit? Oh. All Creatures Veterinary Clinic. Is someone here from that organization? All Creatures? Okay, we'll set that aside for the next meeting.
They've been here for years.
They've been here for years.
They're moving.
Oh, okay.
They're reorganizing and they requested a business permit, so that's what we're doing.
Okay.
At their request, so that's fine. We'll work that out in no time. Okay, first, under new business, first reading of ordinance 7-23, self-storage units. Is there a motion for that, to accept that?
I'll make a motion to accept on the first reading, the ordinance number 7-23, self-storage.
Thank you. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Any discussion on the motion? First reading of ordinance 7-23. This contains the storage units. It was sent back to us by the Planning Commission because there was a misunderstanding and required further clarification. So that's why it's on the first reading. No discussion. All those in favor of approving ordinance 7-23 on the first reading, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, first reading of ordinance 14-23. Am I doing this right? Yeah, okay, I'm sorry. 14-23, the budget amendment playground. This is an amendment requested by the CPA to clarify the entry in our books. It was a donation of $8,000. The money was paid. We're just making it part of our budget accounting. Is there a motion to accept on the second reading?
I move to accept ordinance number 14-23.
I'll second
Is there a second? Thank you. Is there any discussion on the motion? Roll call. Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Second reading of ordinance number, I'm sorry? I'm sorry. Moving the paper up too far. First reading of ordinance number 15-23, water rate increases. Is there a motion to accept?
I make a motion to accept ordinance 15-23.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Discussion on the motion? Because I have some discussion. Water rates are being increased because if there are 2 successive years of loss, the state takes over and sets the water rates. This is something I think it's fair to say that the alderman and I feel is a first step to show the state and our accountant and our auditor and our controller that this is something that we are working on and we are moving forward to correct any potential deficits. As far as we know, none have come forward from the controller's office. There has not been an increase for many years, from what I've been told historically. So we're taking a very minimal approach to increasing the water rates. As I said during my campaign, the biggest concern were senior citizens. They usually have a minimum usage, and this increase barely affects the minimum usage. So I just wanted to get that out there. Is there any discussion from the alderman on the first reading?
Also, let everybody know that we're setting these rates, so if the state comes in here and sets them, they could be 2 or 3 times as much.
So it's a proactive move is what we
Yes.
felt. Roll call on this?
So, yeah, one of the things that I was confused about is that this is only right now affecting rates within the city limits.
Right.
The rates outside of the city limits are already significantly higher than this. But the state will not let us raise the outside city limit rates anymore. So we are gonna have to play catch up probably. I hope that we don't catch up our inside and outside customers for another decade, because there's a pretty good spread right now on what happens inside versus outside the city limits. But our hands are tied by state law, so we can no longer, we would like to increase both inside and outside in the same proportion to keep things even, but we can't do that anymore.
Okay, therefore, can we have a roll call vote?
Doreen?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Jessica?
Yes.
Nate?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, next is the first reading of ordinance 16-23, the fire department vehicle. You have that in your packet. Is there a motion to accept ordinance 16-23 on the first reading?
I'll make a motion to accept ordinance number 16-23, fire department vehicle.
Thank you. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Any discussion on the motion?
This is for the fire truck, right?
Yes.
Okay. Is everything still good with the fire truck?
I'm sorry?
Is everything still good with it? Are we good?
Yeah, well, we're having, part of Chief Lawyer's program is to increase the maintenance records, and we've been doing that, so this truck, along with the other trucks, will be under maintenance review. But yes, right now, we're okay.
So to be clear, is this ordinance, this is the first reading to repair the new fire
Right.
truck, not to purchase the fire truck. We purchased it, but it's not operational right now. It broke in training.
So we paid $25,000 for a truck that we're spending $20,000 on right now.
Yes,
Well,
we knew that though, because remember,
Nate, if I may?
okay.
We paid $15,000 for the truck. We had a maximum amount of $25,000, which was approved. The truck for safety and life hazard has been tested, and it needs repair. This is to repair that issue. The truck has already been purchased. It's in the fire hall, and we're maintaining it.
So what tore up on it?
The hydraulic system, or a part of the hydraulic system for the bucket.
The thing that we knew was leaking when we bought it. Remember, we
Bought it with the needed for.
we bought it with bad hydraulics, knowing that they were going to give up at some point, but we were paying 10 cents on the dollar for the truck. So now we will have to repair the truck, and we'll have 20 cents on the dollar in it. So it's still a good deal.
To review the numbers, what we paid for, plus, just to be ridiculous to make the point, $100,000 would be a $115,000 fire truck. We have pulled up similar trucks of age with the same type bucket, and the lowest one we found was $225,000.
I know we got a good deal on
So
the truck.
that's-
I'm just worried
trying
about
to review the numbers so that we understand that
paying $20,000.
we're okay to make repairs.
I'm okay with the truck. I knew we got it a good price on it. I was just concerned about the $20,000 already, and we haven't even used it yet.
Well, we had approved 10,000 when we purchased the truck because we only paid 15 for it. So there's 10 there. I think Travis said he thought it would be about $25,000 to repair the truck. So this will go with that other 10 and give some cushion to do that repair.
Okay, and this is in the budget. We're good with it.
This is coming out of capital reserve, so no, it's not in the budget.
Okay.
Now, we were approached by a developer who was interested in helping to make a donation to help offset this cost. Is that still something that is in the works?
That's something that's in negotiation, yes.
Okay.
Well, I don't see where we really got a choice. We got to fix it.
Right.
Okay, so on the first reading of ordinance 16-23, the fire department vehicle, do you need a roll call? Roll call
Lorraine?
vote?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Jessica?
Yes.
Nate?
Yes.
Yes. Last item is the first reading of ordinance 17-23, the budget for fiscal year 23-24. Is there a motion to accept?
I'll make a motion to accept ordinance 16 dash 23. 17?
Yes.
Jeez.
17
All right, yeah,
dash
17 dash 23.
Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Is there discussion on the motion?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay, we're giving the employees 3 extra vacation days, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be in place of a raise, right?
Yeah.
I don't feel like those 3 vacation days are going to help them pay their bills.
Well,
I don't know what we can do about it at this point.
I'm not sure. I am prepared to do a budget review after 6 months to see where we stand and if we can do any more for any of the employees. I would be in favor of that. I think, as you know, being absent of a city tax, there are restraints and constraints and all the other words that we use. So right now, at this first reading, and to get the budget approved, which can be amended, as you know, through a process, we should move forward. Some of the departments were told that this would be the situation, and others are good with it when it was explained. So unfortunately, if we had a lot of money, we could do a lot of things. And that's not the case right now, but we'll continue to work on those projects. Any project that comes in, as you all know, we get some proportionate share of sales tax, fuel tax, occupancy tax, and that's our sole source of income right now, basically. Those are the 3 main features. But we'll do the best we can with employees and equipment and future growth and everything else that the town would need going down the trail.
So Doreen, one thing we could do is we could amend the human resources policy to make the retirement program, make a portion of that non-matching. That would have no impact on the budget because we have to budget for their retirement accounts anyway, even if they choose not to spend it. It would be an expenditure, but it would not change the budget at all. So we could actually do that. We could pass this budget and still do that, and that would put more money in their pockets if we chose to do that without any budget impact.
Would that be per employee decision?
Right now, we don't offer any retirement. We only offer a match. So if they put into their retirement, then we will match it up to a certain amount.
So that is a retirement program.
Right.
Right.
But so we could amend our policy so that after 6 months, we provided them some funds in their retirement account, regardless of whether they match it, which would be more money for them, but it would have 0 impact on the budget because we have to budget for that. We're required by law to budget for that anyway.
Yeah.
It doesn't buy bread and a paycheck, but it's an option later on. But that's not something to do tonight, but it's something we could do.
We can work on that in the future. Is there any other discussion on the first reading of the budget? All those in, roll call vote, please.
Lorraine?
I say no.
Dan?
Yes.
Jessica?
Yes.
Nate?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes. Okay, I have 2 other items, I guess, under new business. We are looking to create more usable space in the community center library building, and I had suggested that perhaps we purchase a shed to help with the storage of equipment and materials that's not used on a regular basis. The suggestion was made that the library should share in that cost. They have had their meeting and they are prepared to contribute 50%, which would be approximately $1,500 for a new shed. So that's my report on the shed. What's your pleasure on the taking action?
What budget line would our portion come out of?
I'm sorry? On the shed, yeah. Would it be capital? Probably.
It's not enough for capital.
Well, not that. The short answer is I don't know. We'll check with the accountant. The thing is, what do you want to do? That's my first question.
Well, I think if we want to make a decision, we have a budget, so they're trade-offs. So if we spend this on this shed, then there's something else we wouldn't spend that money on. And so that's why I asked where it's coming out of, because that's important to me. You know,
All right, so have you,
And also, what kind of price are we looking at? Or do we know we can get something for $3,000?
yes, it's repossessed for $29.75, I think, or something. For round figures, $3,000.
Is that delivered?
Delivered and installed.
I say do it. And I'm the only one that says.
I'm just looking to where we would pull it from.
Well, I'm sure we could work that out.
But it's going to come out of something.
We're sure that there's no space here in the building?
Right, there's no space in this building, and there's no space in the other building. They've used that second room that should be used for rentals and use of by the senior citizens, but it's turned into a storeroom. And historians have told me that there have been knitting classes, chair exercises, all sorts of things that they use that other room for, as well as when the town rents it out for community functions or birthday parties or whatever.
So we could get our money back on it if we got it cleaned out.
You take it out of Parks and Rec.
Right, we could take it out of Parks and Rec, but that would take away from the Parks and Rec department. That's,
But I don't have anything going on in Parks and Rec.
And there are donations coming, they say.
Till
In-
the end of this year.
so this would be an appropriation coming out of this final budget amendment? So this last year's budget?
Yeah.
Okay. That's a great answer, thank you.
We're glad we got your approval now.
Was a motion made?
So I make
Okay.
a motion that we approve the $1,500 to buy the storage shed.
Is there a second to the motion?
Second?
Discussion on the motion?
So this is coming out of unspent Parks and Recreation funds that were not spent because we didn't have as much of a ball field as we thought we were going to this year. Okay.
Any other discussion on the motion? Roll. Yeah, it's fine.
Doreen,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Jessica.
Yes.
Nate.
Yes.
Yes. The other item I have, final item under new business, is we had talked about an ice maker that is defunct. We discussed that at the workshop. You know the bids. So I'm looking for a motion to accept the bid from Eagle Appliance for $4,140, and it will be part of the new budget, so it'll be purchased in July. He just wanted to get it ordered and in the system so it would be here timely. So is there a motion to accept the purchase of a ice maker, 300-pound ice maker, $4,140 from Eagle Appliance?
I'll make a motion, we purchase the ice maker.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Is there a discussion on the motion? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Doreen.
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Jessica.
Yes.
Nate.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Are there any citizens that wish to be heard? Mr. Lay, if you would wait a minute and defer to the lady behind you.
So on the
Ms.
ice-
Ruggles,
Yeah, where's your ice maker going?
the fire department.
Oh, okay, because I was gonna say there's an ice maker in the community center.
Right, but this is and thank you for that. This is for the fire department and our other
Okay.
city agencies. When they're out there and it's 80 degrees, They get ice, there's some ice and cooling needed at the water plant for samples, so it'll be shared by the different departments of the town.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Mr. Lay, I believe you have something to say.
First, about the city charter. You were talking in the personnel policy, changing what the city charter said. Can you legally do that?
Changing what the city charter said?
Yeah, it was flashed up there, pursuant to city charter, where the mayor shall.
So it was saying pursuant to, and the city charter is pretty vague. So it's just saying that there are powers that lie with the mayor and alderman in that one section. I looked at it.
Well, I'm just wondering, it's been 30 years since I read the charter, and several times over the years, different administrations can invoke the city charter gives me the specific power to do this, then that would, some would construe null and void the ordinance, just like the property tax thing.
The way I read it when I went back and looked at the ordinance is it was just clarifying what's in the charter. So the charter it gives the mayor and board of aldermen that power, and it was trying to clarify and make it more specific.
And a lot of communities do charter amendments. Would that be something that needs to be looked at later on, or?
That's why I wanted the attorney to review it. I'll probably double check with the attorney anyway, but you're right. My understanding for our charter to change would take action in Nashville.
Okay.
But I don't know the details.
I'm just for my own information. The next thing,
Thank you.
last month I'd asked about the legal opinions the city was getting from the city attorney, and I was told most of those were verbal, and you stated that those would be forthcoming in written form from the city attorney.
His future opinions, yes.
Future opinions.
Yes,
Okay.
and I have mentioned that to him, and there have not been any since.
So,
But as we do get an opinion, I've asked that they be in writing.
Okay. And I asked about pending litigation last time, and what currently, as of today, is pending litigation that the town of Monteagle is involved in?
Well, several things. As you may or may not know, the Tennessee State of Appeals issued their ruling on the RBT matter, and they held for the city. So the reason I don't make it official is also in the decision, the plaintiffs have the right to take further action within a 60-day time period. That 60 days has not yet expired. I have not heard from anyone as to what they are planning to do or have done, so I don't know. There is another decision, I understand, in the lower courts where a judge has not yet been assigned, and that's in the process, I believe. The rumor mill has it that they're petitioning the state Supreme Court to assign a judge to that case to move forward. Other than that, there is another case, a writ of certiorari proceeding against the town and the planning commission for their refusal of hideaway development, and that's in the courts as well.
Okay. And what was that fancy word you used?
Certiorari. It's the writ, but that was the action. It's a writ of certiorari which asks the higher court to review the lower court's ruling, or government aid body.
Right, there's no lower court ruling, it would be
it's the
planning
governing body.
commissions.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's all that I'm aware of at this time.
Well, in the attorney's last bill, they kept referring to, and I didn't bring that with me, I'll have to just get it and ask you later, if there was the city attorney was giving recommendations on some case, and it wasn't, I don't think it was the truck stop, and it wasn't Joe Lester, so I'll have to get that.
Please let me know. I'm not aware.
Okay. Okay, that's all I wanted to know. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other citizen comments? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move to make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
It's 30.
Aye.
Aye.
Yes.
Aye. Meeting